Thank you, Kuntal. It's a pleasure to be here today. Good day and good morning to audience from the Latin America. Thank you for a brief introduction, Kuntal. It's a pleasure to be here in today's presentation. So today, just I would like to give a context of today's presentation. We are all living in the world where medicines are becoming very, very important in day-to-day life, especially in the current pandemic times. Even the layman is now talking about the medicine. So suddenly the importance of medicines are increased and awareness is increasing. So today, I would like my context of presentation is talking about global generics markets. So because generics are playing a very vital role in the last 10 years in the pharma industry, and there are a lot of changes are happening in the industry. And I would like to take you through various aspects in a given span of time. This is a vast topic, and definitely its time is not going to be enough to cover all the aspects. But I will make an attempt to present you about the key aspects and key changing factors in the global generics market. Before I begin, just a small disclosure. I am working with MSN Group as a head of Latin America, and the presentation and content is developed based on the information of published reports and public domain. And the views expressed are completely personal views and not endorsed by any organization and entity. Okay, so starting with that, first is whenever we talk about the market, the numbers comes. So I try to estimate a current market of global pharma market is around 1 trillion USD. Definitely the key markets will be in the United States, Japan, and Europe, and then followed by growth markets and ROW markets. So growth markets are basically some of the key countries like BRICS countries and all. So it is estimated that the global pharma market is to be 1 trillion US dollar in 2020. And coming to the global generics market, currently the global generic market in 2020 is expected to be over $210 billion, and it will expected to grow roughly with the CAGR of 9.8% in next 5 years. So definitely these numbers will be changing with the current situation globally of the pandemic. But I see personally that the market is continuing to grow. I don't see any degrowth in the market, and only with the pandemic, the pharmaceutical industry is growing. There was some challenges in some certain segments, but definitely eventually if we see as an overall growth, the growth will be positive and robust. So just to before we go into details of the nitty-gritties of the market, I would like to take you through the key countries. So which are the key countries in the global generics? So we are talking about North America, which is the focus of most of the Asian companies, especially and European companies, because United States is a very, very important markets, and everybody is in a race of filing more and more para 4 filings, ANDAs, and that rush is always on, and especially the companies from India are very focused on United States. Then it comes to the second region, biggest region is Europe, where is the generics has a huge scope, especially market like Germany, UK, France, Italy, Russia and Turkey. We can put the Russia and Europe, or we can put as a separate continent. But these are the upcoming markets in the Europe. And key markets in Asia Pacific are China, Japan, Korea, India, Australia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam, which are upcoming markets. And in South America, the biggest markets are Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia. And coming to the Middle East and Africa, the Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Nigeria, and South Africa. These are the key markets, and we already have a lot of players operating in most of this market. The complexity and the dynamics of the market changes changes market to market, country to country. There are different regulatory pathways. There are different ways of introducing the generics. There are different patent norms and patents. So it is a vast subject. But in a nutshell, I would like to see that I would like to mention here that all these markets are the key markets for any global generics company. So let me touch base about some of the factors which are affecting or positively on the global generics market. So first most important factor is healthcare expenditure. Across the globe, there is an increase in the spending in income groups. If you see in this file in this slide, the high income, middle income, and low income from the World Bank information, if you see there is a significant increase in the expenditure. This is a not only positive sign for the global generics company, but even any other players in the actors in the pharma industry. So overall expenditure as percentage to GDP is continuously increasing, and this will definitely help to fuel the growth for global generics. And the second most important factor is purchasing PPP, which is a purchasing power parity. If you see, the middle class is continuously expanding and their purchasing power is increasing. In this graph, if you see compared to the 2019 and to projected the PPP for 2025 in the key pharma emerging countries like Brazil, Russia, India, China, Egypt, Indonesia, there is a significant increase in percentage purchasing power parity, and the population with the PPP is from 6,000 to 30,000 US dollar. So this is again a positive factor for the all of the countries, and this will definitely further help to grow the global generic segment. So talking about the access, so the if we see the many of the countries, the free healthcare concept is not still established. Even in the key country like the US, the free healthcare concept is a challenge. And if we talk about just let's focusing on Brazil, China, India, and Russia, still the private share healthcare expenditure is more than 50% or almost 50%, and per capita spending is quite less. So this is a major reason that many differentiated drugs or new molecules and biologics are still not accessible to the common people. And this is one of the challenge which is in the private space as well as the government space. And the entities are looking forward to make products accessible and available for the general people. And this is also another main significant reason why global generics will grow, because there is a continuously newer treatments are coming, targeted therapies are coming, and all the people are asking for the in each country to governments to and putting the pressure to make the products available and accessible. And that's where the some of the concepts of a compulsory licensing we have seen in the past years in some of the countries, that government has forced the innovator to give compulsory licensing. And we know that the case of Gilead, uh, in Gilead has given the compulsory license different manufacturers license of the many of the drugs. And recent time in the COVID, remdesivir is a classical example where remdesivir has been licensed to many of the Indian companies and Asian companies, and as well as some European companies for the on the license basis on a selected countries. And another most important point which I would like to present here is doses consumed by country in 2020. If you see compared to the doses consumed in the 2015 to 2020, there is a incremental increment of 100 billion standard units to 2015 doses across the world. So the consumption of the doses is completely increasing. More doses are being consumed, and that is going to help, and there is going to be continuously increased demand, and this demand will be substantiated by the support of the global generics and generics medications in across the region, so that because they are accessible and affordable. And this is also going to increase the growth of the market. In another point of view about the rising demand, due to the increased information and knowledge across the countries, especially emerging markets or pharma emerging countries, all the countries if we see, and the fast followers are the countries of the smaller scale or the smaller markets, they all everywhere there is a significant rise in the demand, and the markets are growing substantially. And this is going to also benefit the global generic segment. So okay, so moving forward, I would like to now touch base about what are the key drivers in the global generics growth. So I given a background which is going to help to grow the global generics, but how the companies can grow in the global generics. So the first point which we would like to take is speed is the key. So if you are the there I would like to introduce the three concept. Some of you are known. If you are a first to launch, or if you are among the first few to launch, or you are late to launch, depending on the status of your registration and introduction of product in the country, your position and your market share decides. So if you are a first to launch after innovator, definitely you will have a bigger voice, share of voice, and your introduction of in the market will fetch you a bigger market share. If you are among the first few, this is going to be a little tougher to get the more market share. And if you are late, definitely this is going to be much difficult to grab the market share. So in these launches, speed is the key. Faster you introduce the product, a better position you will have in that market or in that segment. And this has been witnessed in across the world, in across the markets. And this is the speed is the key for the success for the global generics player. The another very important aspect which I want to bring on table is the affordability and access. This is going to be a very important tool. The government's participation in healthcare is going to be increasing day by day, and more and more in each country, for politician, healthcare is becoming as a big agenda for elections and political agenda. So they are using the healthcare as a card in most of the countries, and but government do not have the sufficient funding to support this so-called concept of free healthcare or access for all. So in this case, the most important point which will be considered by the most of the global generics player is the affordability and access. When they are introducing the newer products, they need to be clear about their floor prices and where they stand, because this market curve is going to the prices are going to go down dramatically. And sooner or later, when the competition comes up and there will be multiple players, the major role or the companies with a way affordable access and affordability in the terms of prices, they will be the winners in the whole segment. So affordability and access, this is a very fundamental for global generics. And this I want everybody to take it as a very key point, that whether it's a branded generic market or it is a generic market, in both the segments, affordability and ultimately the access is going to play a very vital role. Moving on, so differentiation. So when I spoke about the affordability, access, we spoke about the market segments. Now differentiation in generics, if we have some differentiation, a different dosage form equivalent to the innovator, or different delivery system, this will give a very different edge among the competition and the segment. For example, everybody know Lyrica, and in the US, Lyrica has introduced, or any market, they have introduced the control release form of Lyrica. So if you see in terms of studies, the Lyrica and Lyrica CR are almost the same, but more of a patient, Lyrica CR gives a benefit of patient benefit of doses and compliance. So in that segment, they brought the differentiation. I'm taking one global example. I'm not taking the example of generics, but just for the understanding of all the audience. So differentiation in terms of dosage delivery form, differentiation in terms of specialty generics is going to play a very important role, and it will be a key driver in global generic segment. Then coming to the patent cliff, what is going to help in the global generic segment? If you see, we have already witnessed that till 2018, there is a huge number of patents are expired, and a lot of products became off patent, and that has helped. So in the similarly, I just try to summarize here, from 2020 to 2025, there are 230 active ingredients or drug combinations are expected to be off patent. And some of the product which we are aware, like big brands like Revlimid, like Januvia, Januamate, many of these products are one of the biggest sellers in the market. And this brings a huge opportunity for global generics players to introduce the products in the global market. And if you see across the segments, there is patents are getting expired. from if you see this ATC classification of the various therapeutic areas, all the areas we are seeing that there is a patents are getting expired, and this is a huge segment for huge opportunity for most of the companies, because some companies are present in cardiovascular segment, some companies are in dermatologicals, and some companies are in the respiratory. In all segments, we are having huge opportunity coming up in next 5 years. Okay, so very important slide, coming to very important slide. So where to play? How companies will play their game? So I just listed down some of the therapeutic areas and some of the therapeutic products categories. So everybody is interested in oral solids. So I see that almost the majority of the companies, almost 70% or 80% of companies are playing in the global generic space in oral solids. But what is going to happen? The segment is going to be highly crowded, and cost will be the game. So your pricing has to be very nice, very low. Then only you will be competitive in the market. Biosimilar, very attractive segment. Each MNC has a division now biosimilar. Each generic company has a biosimilar development pipeline. So this is very attractive, but uncertain due to clinical and regulatory landscape. Still, the success of biosimilars coming up in the international markets is still uncertain, and there are a lot of clinical challenges in the clinical trials and regulatory registrations of the products biosimilars in the global world. Coming to the respiratory, specifically delivery system dosage forms like inhalers and fixed dosage forms. So in respiratory, it's a sizable market with limited number of players, but the challenge is tough to crack. And we are aware that in globally, there are very few companies present in the respiratory space, like companies like Teva or Cipla, and they are there, and there are no many players. But this segment is a niche segment, and if the indigenous technologies are there, there is an innovation and concepts are there. Some companies are definitely can put a good investment in this segment, and they can grow in this segment. Sterile injectables, it's again a very niche segment. A lot of companies are present, and here the importance is quality because of the nature of the dosage form and the differentiation. So sterile injectable is another segment where some of the key players are getting serious, and they are focusing a lot. And in days to see, we will see more and more companies coming in sterile injectable space. And the last segment which I want to touch about is specialty generics, where new dosage form, new dosage delivery systems are developed. And this is an attractive and less competitive segment. The only challenge in this segment is complex development as a first challenge. And second challenge will be the regulatory pathway when we are filing the products in the different countries. So pathway will vary from country to country. But once we surpass, or any company surpass this challenge, they will have a less competition, and they will able to take the benefit of these registrations for a longer time. So in a summary, so what's next in global generics? So global generic markets will continue to grow substantially. Post-pandemic, government spending on healthcare will increase drastically across the globe. Speed of launches is the key to success. Companies with vertical integration will have always lead the way, and they will have always an advantage. The prices drop will be at faster pace. So, and the huge market potential for specialty generics and biosimilars. Companies with bigger portfolio will have negotiation power, and competition will become intense among local, regional, and global players. So in last 10 years, we must have seen that every country has a local manufacturing base developed. In fact, even the smallest countries in the Africa region or Asia region, they are having the local manufacturing base. And the world has become very connective, and the networks are strong. So the access to the technology and access to the raw materials is available across the globe, and the competition will be definitely intense among the different level of players. So the companies with the vertical integration from the development of API to formulation, they will always have the advantage, and they will lead the way. So these are my comments for the today's session. And I would like to thank you. And I would like to close my session with the comment. We all together, colleagues from pharma industry, we have to work towards improving access across the globe. And this is very important, and this is a need of our for the world. Thank you.
Thank you. So thanks for the great insights, Raman. Really appreciate. I think I learned a lot. Thanks for that, and I am sure all our global audience also must be intrigued by your presentation. I have few questions. The first one coming from Mario. So he's asking. I think you already told part of it. How do you see the possibilities of generic companies if they cannot compete entirely on price? Like for
So
example, COGS is high. Yeah.
yeah, again, it varies from market to market. So, for example, we have some countries in emerging markets is a branded generic space. So, in the branded generic space, your customer relationships play an important factor. So if you are not competitive in the price, but you have a good image, still you can sell with the premium pricing in the branded generic space. The second point which I want to add here is the portfolio. If you have a good portfolio, if you have multiple products, so in some products you may not play competitive, you will not be competitive, but due to your advantage with other generics products, the customer will continue to buy your portfolio. So that is the second advantage.
Correct. Very good. Thank you, Raman. And also, I think there is another question that do you see opportunities to enter the respiratory segment without having your proprietary devices?
So respiratory
Okay.
segment, I have an experience of respiratory segment very well in my one of my previous company. So definitely this segment is very important. If you don't have the proprietary devices, still you can participate in this segment. But what is important is that the development of your final dosage form should be Q1 Q2, like equal to the innovator delivery systems. So that is the most important, that is the key to success, and that's where many companies fail in this segment. That way, the what is most important is final delivery of the dosage. If you are ensuring that, the definitely all the regulatory authorities will accept your dosage delivery platform.
Okay, great. Thanks for your question, Mario, and all others. Thank you, Raman, for being there today for the Pharmacircuit conference. I'm sure all the audience have enjoyed your presentation, and it is also, of course, a great privilege for me to meet you after so many years. I'm looking forward to keeping in touch with you, and all the best for all your endeavors. And thank you again. Be well.
Thank you so much, and thank you everybody, and thank you for this opportunity, Kuntal. Have a good evening for you in the Europe, and good day for other people from Latin America. Thank you.